Hello, Flosstube. Hi, all you stitchy people. My name is Heidi, and this is Stitching Down the Rabbit Hole, my YouTube channel about mostly cross-stitch, but a few other kinds of stitching as well. It is January 23rd, if you need someone to tell you what day it is, in the year 2025. I haven't put up a video since December 27th, a few days after Christmas. We've had a whole bunch of month since then. I've been doing a lot of stitching, but between this video and my last one, there's probably not a lot of overlap because I got a bad case of the starts. Yeah, I think it was watching all those whip parades, or maybe all the SALs that I committed to back when they were in the future and now they're here. I'm not sure what happened, but I was trying to get a grip on things and thought this recording a video would be a good way to do that. So you're going to suffer through me trying to get organized and get a sense of what I have. I do like to warn people that this is the no apologies Flosstube. You might see dangling threads, needles, frames, hoops, or Q-snaps. You won't hear dogs barking or cats meowing, but you could hear a fire truck, and I won't be sorry. Wrinkles, I don't iron unless, it's important. So, speaking of ironing, I hope I remember I have a tip for you later if you sew at all. Anyway, there was another tip I had too, but what was it? Oh, frogging and lint. I better write those down. Tips. Don't forget the tips. Frog, lint, and press stitching. Sorry. You can see I'm not organized, even though, look, doesn't that look organized? Oh dear. So little catching up from last time. I guess I said I suggested it, but I'd really outlawed the word game changer. Had a lot of great suggestions, and I think I struck a nerve. I think a lot of people are on board with that. The word which shall not be used anymore. Revolutionary was my favorite. Don't know why that's on my mind. Anyway, Heidi, behave yourself. Oh, if you hear this sound, that means that I have put something up on the screen. And if you are otherwise visually engaged, you might want to look at the screen, but not if you're driving. Don't do that. But if I put up a picture or some words in editing, I will also add that sound. Hope that's helpful. As I said, there's very little overlap in projects from this time to last time, but I did go back and check where I was at some point, so you can see how much I got done. What else did we do? Oh, the voting on the vintage chart prize package that I'm putting together. Interesting. Strawberry won by an overwhelming margin. But out of 88 comments, only 15 people, or 13, voted. You know what that means? It either means you're watching on TV and you can't comment. But wait, 88 people commented. I think they weren't watching all the way to the end, which is fine. I get bored with me too. My husband is always leaving the room in the middle of my sentences. So if you need to do that, you go right ahead. But of the 13 people who voted, most of them voted for, 8 voted for strawberry as going in the prize pack. So I do have a bunch of new vintage charts for you to consider, and they're all told in a garden. So if you like told in a garden, well, there might be one other, and it has charms in it. Cute little, those little things that are hard to get with an old chart. It has charms in it. So stay tuned to the end if you want to vote on the vintage chart prize package that I'm putting together. What else happened? Oh, I think I told you that. Did I tell you last time that my daughters and my husband very generously chipped in and got me a new sewing machine for Christmas? So my previous sewing machine, which was a Singer, pretty fancy one, it did like Scotty dogs and tulips and all those stitches no one ever uses. But it was a nice machine, and it lasted me for 48 years probably. But it's not working right, and it's been reconditioned 2 or 3 times already. So they chipped in and got me a new Singer 4411 heavy duty, and I love it. So it comes with this really nasty dust cover. So what did I do with a sewing machine? I made a dust cover for my sewing machine, just out of scraps that I had on hand. But here's the genius innovation. It's a good thing I've got 2 more of these to make for my daughter's machines, because I need to improve my models. But there's a handle on the top, right? And so if you want to carry it while it's on has the dust cover on, look, I put a zipper in the top. So you can zip it to keep the dust out. And then when you want to carry it, you open it up and pull in the handle. Tell me I'm not a genius. Well, tell me I'm a genius. That's my cute little dust cover for my sewing machine. So I'm working on something else right now, but it's not enough there to show you. Okay. I guess we'll just jump into the pile. I don't really have a haul. I don't think, because I don't really shop. I scrounge. That's what I do. So let's see what I'm doing, okay? Should we just get organized here? Oh, let's have a drink. I don't know what that is or how long it's been in there. So if you sign up for the newsletter at Caterpillar Cross Stitch, they will send you a newsletter. And in that newsletter at the beginning of the year was a chart for temperature. I call it temperature stars, and that's not what it's called. A year in stitches. If I can find a picture, I'll put it up. And so I pulled out colors that I assigned to. This isn't temperature stitching like Jen, the caffeinated thread. Yeah, I should be decaffeinated crafter. Like Jen is doing, where she stitches every day on something according to the temperature. I'm just recording the temperature in stitches. So I had temperatures for the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way up into the 90s. I didn't have any for single digits because I've lived in Lower Michigan for 28 years. No, 20. Let's not do math right now. 30 years I've lived in Lower Michigan, and I don't recall us ever having single digits for the high. I grew up in northwestern Wisconsin, where we would sometimes have highs in the -20s for the high. So I was used to cold weather, but not down here. So I didn't have any single digit colors, so I had to add one. Because, if it's cold enough to snow in Panama City Beach, you can imagine how cold it is up here a few hundred miles from the Canadian border. Cold. So anyway, a year in stitches is rows of stars, and you stitch each star according to your color, and in the middle there's that cute sun with a cloud. Now, I was anxious to get started, and it wasn't January 1st yet, so I couldn't start. So I thought, well, I'll do the little sun with the cloud. What if I counted wrong? When I get to the middle of the year, I'm going to have some serious frogging to do, probably. So anyway, these purple, dark purple stitches, that represents a high of 6 or 4 degrees or something. And now it's back in the 20s right here. But it's been snowing. I think we probably got 8 or 10 inches over the last few days. And it's been cold, but it's warming up now. But you're not here for the weather. But that is a year in stitches from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Now, if you sign up for the newsletter, and the newsletter doesn't have that chart in it, maybe just send them a really kind, begging, pleading email, and maybe they'll send it to you. I don't know. I shouldn't talk for other people. Okay, so the Hathaway Stitchers, you know them, right? Erin and Amity. And Amity does amazing designs. Erin makes amazing bags. They're just amazing women. I've long admired her charts, and then I just got all urgy. It was like once the holiday got over and the new year got over, Kurt still wasn't home for like 4 or 5 days. And so I just kept starting things. And I started Bird Nerd. I'll put up a picture. Oh, I should probably move over a little. so I have room to put up a picture. I don't like to cut off my head. There, how's that? Bird nerd. And boy, her charts are very stitchable. Sometimes you get a chart with just this really great stitch patterns. So if you start off somewhere, there's places to go, and it's easy. And every thread is just long enough to finish a color, not 4 stitches short. It's like 2 stitches extra. I don't know. She must be some kind of genius. But anyway, here's my start on Bird Herd. I got one bird done and a little bit of the words, and I got one of the branches done. What do you What do you think? Isn't it cute? Bird Herd. I think they're so pretty. The colors are pretty. I'm doing something different this time. When I need a color, because I started it on a whim, so I didn't really even make a kit. I pulled a couple colors, but then when I need one, I just go to my master set and pull off one thread, rather than putting it all in here. I know that Stitching Mommy does that. She works right out of her master set the whole time. She doesn't make kits. She just pulls the color that she needs, one thread at a time. And I'm thinking I might try that more often. But, my Airtable. Remember I showed you my Airtable relational database, which has all my floss inventory. It was started to be my DMC inventory, but I've got Sulky in there now, and I've got some Gentle Arts in there now. And then I have all my whips, and then what threads are in those whips, so that if I'm on my DMC chart, it tells me, you want 417? You can find that it's either in the master set hanging there, or you can find it in chart whatever, project whatever. And so then I don't have to go looking for it, and I know right where it is. And then if I do a new chart, I put all the floss I need. I just click in that floss, and it tells me if it's in the master set, and if it's not, then I can add it to a needs list. And if I abandon a chart like I did, you can just bloop, 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 put it all back into the master set, and then mark that chart abandoned. I like that better than UFO, because to me, a UFO has a specific connotation, and abandoned chart is not it. So, I think, what is this? This is my long dog. You remember Ragnarok. I stitched pretty much only on Ragnarok, maybe 60 to 80% of the time, for 4.5 months, and I finished it. It's great. No, I won't show it to you again. But I missed it for a long time, and I think I still miss it, because now I've got a bad case of the starts, and I'm still kind of hopping from project to project. I'll do a few hours on one thing. Some days I'll do 4 different things. That's not like me. So anyway, here's what my new long dog is. It's called Saga. I'll put up a picture. And I'm customizing this so that on each of the 5 levels, I memorialize my grandmother and my mother, and then honor my 2 daughters and my granddaughter, and me in the middle. So it's five generations of the matriarchal line in my family. And I'm really enjoying that. So I put in a little bit of color. I'll show you where I was last time. And I have finished 3 pages. Yeah, I finished 3 pages. No, I finished 2, and I'm mostly through 3. This is like half of 3. So what's left over here is like half of 3, 4, and 5. No, it might be 4 and 5. But I went to the end over here so that I could see, you like to have something to shoot for. So I went to the end. And that is my saga so far. I'm stitching this on 18 count Amazon Aida, which came very stiff, but the more I handle it, the more it softens up. It's really quite lovely. And sometimes I stitch in a Q-snap, sometimes I stitch in hand. particularly along the edges, I like to stitch in hand, or if I've got a long blocks where you can use the sewing method, then I'll stitch in hand. But I put a little green in for the family tree, and then some more leaves in the middle there. I'm really enjoying that. That is, when I get to the end of this top row, that will be 20%. Yeah. Because it's 5 rows. I'm a math genius. Not as much as Stephanie is on Just Keep Stitching as math. But, so this one is one you haven't seen in a long time. It is a Told in a Garden by Marilyn Levitt. No. Why do you say things if you don't know what you're going to say? Is it Marilyn Levitt Ingram? Is that her name? Do you want to know? If you already know, you're screaming at the screen. This is a handwritten chart. Marilyn Levitt Ingram, yes, 1986. I will put up a picture of Told in a Garden. I have a picture of it, but their charts just came with a little photograph. This is the song of a people. A barn, quilts on a clothesline, some big trees. I had to do a bit of frogging. And what am I stitching this on? Does anybody know? There's a lot of rustling going on today. Don't know. This is, I want to say 20 count Ada, but it could be 16. Here is where I am. I think that since you last saw it, I've done a lot of barn. The house is not quite finished. There's more tree to do. And I started on the lettering above the house. Above the house, right there. This whole left and right thing is bad. But it's kind of pretty. I don't have any idea what I'll do with it when it's done. But it's a good mix of confetti. Boy, those flower beds. Oh, I got more to do here in this flower bed too. See, the dark colors are missing from the flower bed. Good grief, Heidi. Hold the damn thing still. See, the dark color's not in the flower bed yet. There's also a fence, a picket fence, which I might not do because white picket fences are supposed to be white, and I hate stitching white. I'm not sure how it would show up on there. Wrought iron doesn't seem proper for a farmhouse, so I might skip the fence. What would you do? Here's one of my stitch-along starts. The Across the Pond Stitch and Chat Facebook group is doing their first start-along. I keep missing the Zooms, but I'm gonna do another one someday. I did one and it was so much fun. If you have a Zoom that you want me to come to, my email is in the description box. Sorry. Am I as lonely and sad as I sound? No. So here's the pretty colors. They're much more muted than I would normally be attracted to, but they're pretty. I can't deny that. And this is a la-di-da piece called One Stitch at a Time, which is perfect for a Facebook group called Stitch and Chat. I'll put up a picture of it when it's finished. And this was a new start for me. The group was supposed to start on January 10th, but you know, there were overachievers or eager beavers, that rhymes, who started early. I was not one of them, but I have got month 2 done. The first row of text and some border was month 1, and the second row of text and some fancy dancy scroll work there was month 2. So I could just chill until March 10th if I wanted to now. And this is on the same stuff that I don't know what it is as that Told in the Garden piece is on. Did I write it down? No. It's some kind of little tiny Ada. That's all you need to know, in a beigey color. I think that if it was something you really, really wanted to know, it would probably be something you couldn't get anymore. That's how life is lately. Okay, did I miss anything yet? No. Should I talk about what I abandoned right now? Let's do that. I abandoned the Needlewoman's Sampler, which was out of an old chart, and it was a motto of, bloody, 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 my needle and me do great things in the world, that kind of thing. And I wanted to try 1/1, and it was really cute. And then I realized I didn't really like the sampler itself, so I stopped. And you'll see that I took the fabric and turned it around, and I'm doing something else with it, which means I abandoned my first start of this, which is the red letters French sampler, Elle Brode, from it's a Reflet de Soie. I found it in a magazine, but I think you can still buy it if you search for it. I'll put it in the description box. And I really liked that. Remember I told you when I started it, it was just for fun, and I knew the fabric was too small, yada, yada, yada. Well, I really liked it a lot. So I decided to restart it on that other thing, but make it tiny. And it will fit on this. You'll see that coming up in a minute. Well, let's find it right now. Where is it? Nope. Oh, here it is. So, after I abandoned the Needlewoman's Sampler, remember that was purple, I'm using Zweigart 32 count Murano, which I love to stitch on even weave. One of my other starts is on even weave, and I may give up 18 and 20 count Ada just for that. So here is the Reflet de Soie piece in its entirety. It's all French, and it means red letter sampler, but isn't that pretty? Look at those big letters. I love the big letters. So I started again on this piece, and look how little it is. So I'm doing this 1/1, and I am using what it calls for. I think it calls this up, but it had a DMC conversion. Yeah, it called for Soie d'Alger 946 and Soie de Paris 945. And I'm using DMC 815 and 304. Here's 815. That's just the darker one for some of the borders. And 304 is this. Well, that's not inaccurate. So it looks kind of like a dark rose on the skein. I really call it like a raspberry. But on here, it looks red. Am I right? So isn't that sweet? The cutest little thing. So I have to frog when I get down here because I'm going to need that fabric. But that's the purple sampler that I abandoned. Oop. There. That's the purple sampler that I decided not to do. So I have some frogging. But it's really sweet. And I'll never do 46 count because that just seems hard. But 1/1 and 32 I can do. That's kind of like 64. Linen is harder than even weave. That's a fact. Even weave stays put. It doesn't get all higgledy-piggledy, and all of its threads are the exact same size. I like that. So, the last thing I abandoned was blue jars. Blue jars was, well, this. Supposed to be this. And it was on I was inspired to do it because I had a huge piece of blue Ada that was very stiff. And I thought, what can I do with that? And I was also exploring whether you can use needlepoint charts to do counted cross stitch. And yes, of course you can. You don't have any symbols to go by. You just have colors for most needlepoint charts. Some of them also have symbols. But there's so many books full of needlepoint charts that are very different than counted cross stitch charts that I just thought it would be fun. And I love needlepoint, even though I'm not working on my project that's under the table. So that was that experiment, blue jars. I found it was just too much block stitching. That's all it was block stitching. And that Ada, oh, stiff Ada, I'm an Ada stitcher. I like it because the holes are right there begging to be pierced. But stiff Ada, does anybody love it? And I couldn't get it softened up with just working with it or rinsing it. I tried that. I suppose I could boil it for 4 days. Anyway, I learned what I wanted to from that project and I abandoned it. Okay, so those are my abandoned projects. Oh, also Paris Flower Market. I picked it up every day for 3 weeks. Here's what it was supposed to look like. I picked it up every day for 3 weeks and I'd put in one thread and I'd go, thank God that's over. I don't know why I didn't care for it. We're like Goldilocks, aren't we? It has to be just the right fabric in hand and in color and in ease of stitching, right? The needle interaction. And it has to have colors that appeal to us. And it has to be a design, a pattern. The artwork has to appeal to us. And the way the chart reads, right? Reading the chart has to be easy for us. The stitch pattern has to be pleasant. Otherwise, you just end up frustrated and hide things in cupboards and start something new. So we are very much Goldilocks people. But it's for fun, so we can do whatever we want. Let's talk about fun. So I got this idea last summer to do a big piece for the semi-quincentennial of the Declaration of Independence, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. I guess you could say the founding of our nation. Technically, it wasn't founded until, we had a constitution, but whatever. That's when we said, let's start over. And I wanted to do something big for that. One of my daughters was born in 1976, the bicentennial, and that was fun. The country celebrated and picnics and parades and big deals were made of that big event. And I wanted to stitch something that might be preserved by my family into the future because it was like a big deal. And this was always the pattern that appealed to me. I haven't done any other patriotic stitching. It's fine. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't decorate for the patriotic holidays. I've been known to go to a parade or a street dance or a barbecue, but I've not done any stitching. But Let Freedom Ring by Leela Studio. And yes, we can settle that right now. It is Leela Studio. On her Instagram bio, she has a phonetic spelling pronunciation of her name, Leela. So that's over with. Let Freedom Ring, which is, of course, Independence Hall in Philadelphia. It was not called Independence Hall back in 1776, but it got renamed that later appropriately because that's where the Declaration was done. And it's got all kinds of other Philadelphia kind of things, Minutemen and a carriage and the Liberty Bell and a flag and flowers, because why not? It says Let Freedom Ring, and it has the north elevation of the Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The years on here, 1732 to 1753, those are the years that it was under construction. So somewhere on here I have to find a place to sign it and put my year. These corner little medallions are supposed to be where you can put an initial, right there and right there. You can put your initials in. I'm not sure what I'll do there. I might do 1/1 and put my initials on one side and the year on the other. I don't know. But I asked everyone I knew, please talk me out of this, or do you have a better idea, or what are you going to stitch? And more people started talking about doing a project like this, and this one was a favorite. A lot of people had already started it and put it away and went, oh, if other people are going to work on it, maybe I will too. It's starting to get dark out. And I had made a comment on Sheila, the Crow River Stitchers, one of her videos. and she caught the bug too, and she started a SAL. Other people may have started SALs too, but I'm going to put the name of Sheila's, the Crow Stitcher, the name of her SAL up here. She has a hashtag and a Facebook group. So if you use Facebook, that might be fun. I only use Facebook to do stitching things, because otherwise there's a lot going on. Anyway, so we were going to start it on January 4th. That would give us 18 months to finish by July 4th. And Sheila very kindly broke up the pattern into weekly sections that are so doable. And that is posted on her Facebook group. So if you want to participate and you want to do just a little bit of stitching every week, she's got blocks that are about 24 by 40 stitches. Some of them, when you're in the building, it's a lot of stitches. Other times it's just a couple of flowers. So let me pop off my Q-snap here. I might have started a couple days early because, like I said, I've been thinking about this project since last summer. And I am using Fiber on a Whim, 32 count even weave in cream and sugar. I love this fabric. I might do everything on this fabric, or at least from Fiber on a Whim. Can we talk for a minute? Can you give me your opinion of Picture This Plus? Particularly the Adas. I keep hearing that they're really tight, that the holes are small. Hard to find. So I have one piece of it, and they are. Some places the holes are almost gone, but I put it down to being hard to stitch because it's dark gray. I'll show you that. But please tell me what your experience with Picture This Plus is. It's fine. I just need to not get 18 if that's the case, or 32 even. 20. I'll go 28. If you want to see where I am on Leela's Studio Let Freedom Ring, here is where I am. This is up through about week. I've gone a little lower than Sheila requires you to go. And I think I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm probably in week 5. So I'm a few weeks ahead, but that's okay. I have a boo-boo in this bird leg. Okay, sorry. And I have a boo-boo in my flag somewhere, but I can't find it. And since it's designed to look like it's waving, I think the boo-boo that I might have just made it 1 stitch wider than it's supposed to be. But as long as I carried through that, my lettering came out okay. So no one's going to know. I'm not Betsy Ross, for God's sake. I love this rope border. Some people have said they don't like it, but if you take the color with the symbol 2 and do all of that first, then the other ones you can fill in very easily, and you have a place to travel your thread on the back under those number 2 stitches. So I'll show you my back. That doesn't look too bad, does it? There's 4 colors in there, but because I put number 2 in first, all the others I could travel by going underneath. I call that taking the subway. So Let Freedom Ring. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I love my fabric. I'm using the called for flosses, which is mostly BMC and a few Gentle Arts. And I would show them to you, but they're all in a big mess, because that's how I am now. I'm just messy. So here's some of the DMC. And here's some of the Gentle Arts. Oh yeah, there's a couple of Gentle Arts on there too. I use my floss drops are actually the regular bobbins. Forest Glade, got Forest Glade, Endive, and Freedom. Some people say Endive. I wish they wouldn't do that for Endive. But Let Freedom Ring, Leela's Studio. It's not too late to start, to join us. Pull it out of storage. Let's all get it done by July 4th, 2026. And have a big party, and corn on the cob and hot dogs and burgers. Chicken? Whatever you want. Here's one of my starts. I think I must have been on the internet too late one night. and I saw this kit. You know, from my first video, I showed you all my needlepoint floral pillows. What a sucker I am for vivid florals. So I got this Dimensions Gold collection. It's called Parrot Tulips, and I do love tulips. I live not far away from a town called Holland, Michigan, which has a tulip festival. And that's not just a touristy gimmick. West Michigan has one of the highest concentration of Dutch descended people, Netherlands descendants, immigrants in the country. I mean, not the most, but there's a lot of Vans and Vanders and Vanderhoeven overafters around here. Holland, Tulip Festival. I love tulips. Here is my Dimensions kit that I'm working on. Oh my God, it's full coverage. It came, as kits often do, with a piece of nasty Ada. And for some reason, it was a dark beige camel color. It's full coverage. And I thought, well, that would be good because a lot of those colors are earth tones. So you'd want something brown behind rather than white, right? In case your stitches showed through. So then I started reading the directions and I started stitching on this nasty Ada. And for a large part of it, he wanted me to do 4 strands, 10th stitch, half cross. I got about 5 stitches in and went, no, this looks horrible and it's not pleasant. So then I tried 2 threads, full cross. I liked that better. I know it's slower. I even tried 1 thread full cross. And I'm kind of wishing I had done that. Because 1 thread is so easy. But I've got too much into it now to do that. But I'm doing a full coverage on a paper chart, not even in markup. So here it is. My start. What do you think? So it's got some blends, which is really why I couldn't go 1 thread. Right here along, between the black and the green, there's a blend of black and green, just a few all the way along there. And then I'm going to have more blends when I get over here. But I'm kind of enjoying it. Oh, I dumped that other Ada. I'll wash it or boil it, or maybe I'll try dyeing it with some dark splotches or something. And I switched to a Fox and Rabbit, one that came in my, why don't I know the information? It came in my Fabric of the Month Club. Oh, I better put that away. Let's just say it. Just say, Heidi, you're an amateur. The charts are horrible. You have to copy them and enlarge them. Fortunately, I have a photocopier here at home. One of those all-in-one jobs. I don't know. I'm using a Fox and Rabbit 18 count Ada in this color, which is almost exactly the same color as the Ada I was given. That's my back. That's the front. So I'm enjoying it. It's intense. It's counting. And if I watch a Flosstube while I'm doing it, I have no idea what the person said. Hope that wasn't you. I love it. Moving right along, The Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. Everyone knows it, but this is what it's supposed to look like. And this is what it looked like last time I showed it to you, which was probably a few months ago. And I'll show you what it looks like now. I am stitching this on vintage thrift store tablecloth, 32 count linen. It's kind of an off-white. It's a grayish off-white rather than a brownish off-white. Look, I got a lot more done in the basket and the fruit are done. No, what's that? I think there's one more fruit there. The bird is done. Is he? And I've done some of the little motifs, the little snowflake things, but I got more. And then I carried this down around. I got a lot of this done, and then all this blue is new. So I like it, but it's very labor intensive. As you know, if you've done anything by Jacob, worth the work. I'm using DMC 317 for the gray and 597 for my turquoise. I started this 3 times with, this is my 3rd color combination. And I finally like this one. I've seen a lot of good colors. I probably should have just stuck with what Jacob suggested because that was really good too. Okay, my next one is for my husband. As I told you before, he's a huge fan of a TV show called The Expanse. It started on Sci-Fi for 3 years, and then it got canceled, and then Amazon picked it up, apparently because Bezos was a fan, and they made 3 more years. And that was quite a while ago. And my husband and I have watched it a bunch. And now he watches one show almost every night. This is his last thing he does before he goes to bed. I couldn't tell you how many times he's watched it in total. More fingers than I have. He follows a group on Facebook. I don't know what, I call it the Expanse Geeks. I don't know what they really call themselves, but they make things with 3D printers. They do artwork, all the things that fan nerds do. So I thought I need to do something fan nerdy for him. So I got a screenshot. So they have their spaceship is called the Rocinante, and they had a pinup girl painted on the outside, like back in the World War II bomber days, right? And we didn't see it until they were going to remove it because they were on the run and they had to disguise their ship. So they painted over the Rocinante and changed the name. And that's the only time we saw that pinup girl, was when they were covering it up. And so I did a screen grab of it. Someone else had done a screen grab, but I took their image, ran it through one of those pixelated cross-stitch design things, and came up with a pattern that looks roughly like this. And then from that I've been stitching. It's a terrible conversion. It requires a lot of editing as you go and freehand and no, I think that should be this color. And so it's not going fast. Here's where, I'm just calling it Rocinante. Here's where it was the last time I showed it to you. And here's where it is today. So the red part of the words are done. I am still doing shading on the T and the E. And I've done a little work on the blanket. That black thing there is the curl of her hair. So blanket will be next, and then her bosom, and then her head and hair. And oh my God, I don't know how long it'll take. But I did this on Picture This Plus 18 count Ada in the color Echo, because I wanted it to look like the outside of a spaceship. So if I put up that spaceship picture again, you can see their spaceship was like gridded plates, and I didn't find anything like that, but I think this is pretty cool. And it was going to be a surprise, but I really wanted him to see it. So he's seen it, and he is very excited about it. And he plans to post it on his Expanse Geeks Facebook post. So I'll get that done. I figure a couple more months maybe if I keep at it. This might be my last whip I'm going to show you. This is have you looked at Fox and Rabbit as a new stitch along, free pattern, mystery stitch along? And you got a few more days to get January's piece. It's going to be some sort of garden, so it looks like it might be a mandala, kind of like a chatelaine kind of a start. It's a little square thing in the center. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. But it's called something garden, so that's what makes me think so. So I've got a tiny start on it, but I'm not happy with it. So I think I'll start that over. I might just wait till I see part 2 to see if I really want to do it. But I'm doing last year's because I'm slow. This is called Faith Hope Love. Here's what it looks like when it's complete. It's a Quaker. I'm doing this on 32 count thrift store tablecloth. And my floss is one of my favorites, Watermelon from Pirate and Robin. Sorry, let me get the glare off of there. It's basically a bright red and a deep red with a very abrupt color change. But, so I'm not stitching Danish. I'm doing one full cross at a time. Here's where I was last time you saw it. And to be honest, I thought I had a lot more done. But the evidence doesn't lie. And here's where I am today. So what more did I do? A little bit of this and the thing below it. This. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. But linen is more work for me. Because I'm constantly checking. Am I off a half a stitch? By half a stitch, I mean by one thread. I have to put it in a Q-snap. I have to pull it really tight. I just like even weaving. Ada, oh my God, it is snowing like mad again. We've already had like 10 inches. So that's that. How am I doing on time? Oh, perfect. And I think people get frightened away by more than an hour. Let's go through my prepared remarks. The day. Oh, when we were discussing that word that I banned, and we're going to say revolutionary instead, someone had a word that they wanted to propose for elimination, and that is pop. You know, pop of color makes the color just pop right off of there. You hear this word in everything from makeup videos to home decor to fashion, right? You put on your all black work outfit and you tie a little scarf on your neck for a pop of color. I'm willing to consider it. I don't have a lot of fashion conversations, so the popping hasn't come up with me a lot, but while we're on the subject of Flosstube themes, I detected a theme this year in a lot of whip parades or plan videos. I just love them all, even though I don't make plans. That not everyone, but many people seem to be planning to have more stitching what they have and less acquiring or starting more. So I think 2025, a lot of people are feeling like that is the less is more year. Did you pick up on that from any of the people that you watch? Do you have that feeling yourself? I certainly do. And I don't even spend very much money, but there's so much to be scrounged at a very cheap price. Anyway, are you going to do more this year with less? Curious. So do we want to get rid of pop? Are we going to do more with less? Dun, 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 dun. I'm not going to show you my Afghan. We are going to look at a couple vintage charts before we go. My tips. Okay. You stuck out this long. If you sew, you know that sometimes you have to press. And sometimes you can get away with finger pressing. But, you should really go over and press if you want it to be nice when you do the next seam, right? Well, my ironing board is way the heck at the other end of the house right now. And my husband talked about maybe getting me one of those little pressing craft irons and a little mat where I can sit right here with my sewing machine and my stitching and press with that. But I found out something else in between. Let me see if I can find it. I did it on something. Oh, yeah. So I had little seams like this, right? Where you're piecing two fabrics together, and then you want to separate, you want to open them and lay them flat. And you can finger press it and hope that it stays. But here's what works better than finger pressing. This is a big one, but get out one of your little quilting rulers or even a paper desktop ruler and rub this over the seam firmly. It just flattens out like you were using steam in 500-degree heat. So you've always got this handy, right? You just, when you're sewing, you just pull that, could be a little 2-inch one. You just pull it right across the seam and it flattens them right out. I'm so excited. I feel like I invented cotton candy. I didn't. What was my other tip? Oh, frogging. I need to find, I'll edit this part out. Okay, so I made a boo-boo in my bird placement right there. I had it aligned with the wrong leaf. And you see, after I frogged out the bird, it leaves lint, right? It almost looks like it's stained. And yeah, everybody's got their favorite trick for getting that out. But here's mine. So here's what it looks like now. If this doesn't work, you're not going to see it in the video. There's what it looks like now. And then you just rub this over it on both sides. I have one thread stuck to it. Better, right? I don't know if you always have one of these handy. I do, because of my business that I run. Generates a lot of lint. Yeah, I've got one there that I gotta get off with the with tweezers. But so if you keep lint rollers around, that whoosh takes them right away. So that's my second tip. Okay. Enough with the Heidi show. Let's look at some vintage charts. You tell me if you want one of these to be in. If Heidi and friends get enough people crammed down to the rabbit hole that we get 2,000 subscribers, I'm going to put together a little prize package. And not just one thing, but a package, because packages are better than one things. There's some wisdom for you. So anyway, I have dived into my vintage chart stash of things that I'm never going to do, and I want to show them to you. This one, I got to take it out of the bag because the bag is going to be history. This is a design from Lynn Tomlinson Needlework, Baltimore, Maryland, back in 1995. Lynn Tomlinson. The pattern is called the Honeybees. It's quite small and has all those fun stitches and the charms. And guess what? I have the charms. I have the bees that go in the middle and in the four corners. It says you need a 9 by 9 inch piece of linen, 28 count evergreen linen. That looks blue to me. I'm sorry. So I'd say choose the linen that you want and choose the fabric that you want. They used Anchor 120 and Anchor 956. Again, you choose your colors. So if you wanted to do those on, a normal, not a dark color, but a neutral, then you could do like a gold variegation, or God, you could use Krynick if you wanted to, right? But it's kind of like 4 variations on a honeycomb, I think is the design there. And of course, each shape is honeycomb shaped. So, yeah, it calls for 2 colors of Anchor floss in light blue and gold, and then some gold Krynick and a number 26 needle. So the honeybees chart with charms. It makes a tiny little 3 by 3 design. Tell me if, say, honey. Hey, honey. No, just say honey. If you think that's the one we should include in the prize package. Do that later. No, I don't want to lose the bees. So I want to zip it up. That's why I haven't put it in a different bag. Okay. And then we have some Told in a Garden from, Marilyn, who also did Lavender and Lace, and there's another one. I can't remember. So this one is called Baby Garden. The picture's not in focus. That's why my camera isn't focusing. It is a woman holding a baby with 2 largest children standing next to her and 4 children seated on the ground and a border. And then up above there's a baby border that you could do with some text to commemorate a baby's birth. Welcome to my garden. Yada, yada, yada. Of course, it's one of the little handwritten Told in the Garden charts. So Baby Garden, say baby if you want that one in. Here is, what is this? Amish Quilt Sampler. I think I have to go hunting for a picture of that one. I do. I'll put it up right here. Amish Quilt Sampler. This one is from 1998. And how many stitches? The design area is 7 by 20 approximately. Oh, stitches 102 by 284. So, Told in a Garden Amish Quilt Sampler. Say quilt, if that's the one you like. And oh no, that's not going to work. Say Amish, if you want the Amish Quilt Maker. This one is called The Quilt Maker, also by Told in a Garden. Here is the picture. This one's kind of cool. So the Quilt Maker, excuse me while I just look at this chart. Yes. The Quilt Maker has 2 charts. Both of these charts that you see. And then it's meant to be framed with, I got it upside down. I do. There we go. See the woman in the center? It is very hard to see. There's a art rendering of a woman in the center that's meant to be framed with these. And it comes with a print. Now you can see the Amish woman, quilt on the wall, quilt in her lap, with her cap and her apron. And what it says is, Greg Kemp is an Amish artist who portrays his people in a simple, honest way. He sees his artwork as a means of enlightening, quote, a lot of people who might not understand us, end quote. The package includes an original Greg Kemp print of the Quilt Maker, and Marilyn wants you to stitch these 2 charts and frame them with that little print. So, is that cool? Put maker in the comments if you think Quilt Maker should be included. And it still has that little piece of art for you to include when you frame it. Nothing wants to go back in the bag. Okay, so maker for the Greg Kemp design. Quilt, no, what did I say? Okay, maker for that one. Quilt for this one. I don't know what I said the first time. I'll include all correct answers. Baby for Baby Garden. And honey for the honeybees. So, if you're still here, you get to vote of what we include in the prize package if we someday get 2,000 people stitching down the rabbit hole with us. Is that all I have to say? Boy, I'm really glad I did this. It took me a while. I was waiting until I got a manicure and lost 50 pounds and got a little suntan from a vacation. But then, I saw the news and there's no winter vacations for anybody anymore in warmer climates. Australia. No, the flight is too long. But, this weekend, go to Adelaide Stitches and watch her last either of the last two Flosstubes. She talks about a virtual get together that is in Australia. Well, it's virtual, hosted by a shop in Australia that is, a virtual retreat. And it's this weekend, the 25th and the 26th. If you're in Australia, it's like the 26th and the 27th. I don't know. It's always tomorrow in Australia. Go watch Adelaide's video. She'll give you the link to the shop that's hosting it, I think for like $7. And if you're a night owl, you could stitch with some people from Australia. I know that I've done that at Jingle Ball or the Midsummer Stitch. There were people there who were, it was daytime, and they were looking for people who were still awake to stitch with them. So if you like virtual retreats, there's one coming out of Australia this weekend. I think that's all I have to say. I probably said too much. Well, maybe next time you come back, I will have done a manicure. Holiday, it's easy to pick the color, right? You go with a nice red. Autumn, you got a nice burgundy or a maroon or a russet, right? Spring, it's hot pink and all the pretty things. Vegas, it's whatever you want. But January blizzards, what color do you use? Blue? Bye, friends. Please come again and subscribe and like and share and all those things if you have time. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.